Welcome to Chapter 1 of Foundations in Personal Finance, an introduction to personal finance literacy. Before you begin, let's take a look at some key terms. Consumer, a person or organization that uses a product or service. Credit, the granting of a loan and the creation of debt, any form of deferred or put off payment. Debt, an obligation of repayment owed by one party, the debtor or borrower, to a second party, the creditor or lender. In most cases, this includes repayment of the original loan amount plus interest. Economy, a system by which goods and services are produced and distributed. Financial literacy, the knowledge and skill set necessary to be an informed consumer and manage finances effectively. Interest, a fee paid by a borrower to the lender for the use of borrowed money. Typically, interest is calculated as a percentage of the principal or the original loan amount. Loan, a debt evidenced by a note, which specifies the principal amount, interest rate, and date of repayment. Personal finance, all of the decisions and activities of an individual or family regarding their money, including spending, saving, budgeting, etc. True or false? 1. I already have a strong working knowledge of personal finance. 2. I think I have a lot to learn when it comes to managing money. 3. Because I am a teenager, what I do now with my money will have little effect on my financial future. Four, my parents have taught me a lot about how to manage money. 5. Most Americans are very wealthy and will have financial security when they retire. Section 1. What is personal finance? Most high school students don't spend their time worrying about mortgages and investments, but they are at an age when smaller financial responsibilities start creeping into their lives. Many of you are earning allowances or have already begun working a part-time job. So, what do you do with your money? What is personal finance continued? If you're just putting it in your pocket and spending without a plan, living payday to payday could become your normal. You need to make decisions about what to do with your money. Have a plan. Set money goals. Learning to manage money at this stage can eliminate financial mistakes and promote huge financial benefits for the future. What is personal finance? Do you have a definition? Personal finance refers to all the financial decisions an individual or family must make in order to earn, budget, save, and spend money over time. These decisions are generally based on a variety of financial risks and planning for the future. The key components of financial planning. Assess your financial situation, your income, assets, and liabilities. Set money goals. Make sure you have a mix of both short-term and long-term goals. You must write out a detailed plan for accomplishing your goals. This begins with your budget. Execute your plan. This involves discipline and perseverance. Know your money personality. Regularly monitor and reassess your financial plan. Replace money myths with money truths. Section 2. Money the American Way. The history of credit and consumerism. It is impossible to discuss the history of personal finance in America without highlighting the evolution of the credit industry. Think for a moment about the most recent commercial you've seen advertising a big-ticket item like a new car or new furniture. Do those ads target people who have budgeted, saved, and are ready to make that large purchase? Or are they more likely to suggest that you buy now, pay later? Which phrase is more familiar? Sadly, borrowing money is so ingrained in our culture that we can't imagine life without it. So how did we get here? Let's take a look. Credit prior to 1917. Before 1917, buying things on credit was not common. Why? Because it had never been legal for lenders to charge interest rates high enough to turn a profit. Lending money to others was not a money-making business. Only wealthy people could get personal loans. Without the possibility of profit, lending money to the middle and lower class was not worth the risk. Small-time loan sharks, people who offered loans at extremely high interest rates, which was an illegal activity at the time, existed for people in desperate financial positions, but they were shady operations on the fringes of society. The highly evolved, highly accepted consumer credit as we know it today did not exist. After 1920, consumer demand for big-ticket manufactured products was on the rise. Credit laws were relaxed in an attempt to create a mainstream, profitable alternative to loan sharks for the working class. Installment credit, a type of credit that has a fixed number of payments, also known as revolving credit, and legalized personal loans became big business. This era made consumer credit legal and more socially accepted. Leveraging credit to escape the Great Depression. In an attempt to help Americans regain their financial footing, New Deal policymakers came up with mortgage, a home loan, and consumer lending policies that convinced commercial banks that consumer credit could be profitable despite bankers' long-held reluctance to lend to the working class. After the Great Depression, World War II proved to be the most important economic event of the 20th century. The war ended the Great Depression by reviving American industry through government spending and consumption. In short, the economy improved because the war created a ton of new jobs. These jobs provided considerable increase in personal income and led Americans to predict permanent improvements to their standard of living. The birth of the suburbs. The post-war middle class bought the American dream with consumer credit. Americans learned to borrow in the midst of prosperity. They borrowed because they believed their incomes would continue to grow in the future. And they were right. Incomes rose steadily from 1945 to 1970. Financial institutions lent more money and borrowers paid it back. Borrowing became a post-war normalcy. The decline into debt, 1970 to the present. After 1970, consumer debt skyrocketed, not because people were borrowing more, but because they continued to borrow as their parents had done since World War II. The difference was they didn't have the post-war period's well-paying jobs. Banks were willing to lend even more because they were now making huge profits off of consumer debt. The credit industry had become smarter than borrowers. As consumers borrowed to deal with unexpected job losses and medical expenses, as well as to live, quote, the good life, banks were willing to continue lending. Due to the clever structuring of financial institutions, the credit world now resembles the pre-1920s loan sharks more than the 1950s banks. In short, an old credit system premised on rising wages and stable employment, low-risk borrower, was reformed to accommodate uncertain employment and income instability, creating a high-risk borrower. Unfortunately, many American families only have the appearance of being financially secure. If you drive through a middle-class neighborhood, you might look at the manicured lawns, nice houses, and new vehicles in the driveways and think, wow, they're doing all right. I want to live like that when I'm an adult. Sad reality is that most of the people in those houses are struggling with debt in the form of mortgages, car loans, student loans, and credit cards. Based on statistics, Americans are horrible at saving money and planning for retirement. They are so conditioned to think debt is normal, they can't envision paying cash for a car or even a dining room table. Americans often spend more money than they make. Most Americans don't have an emergency fund. Saving, budgeting, retirement planning, and staying out of debt are all basic money principles, not complex economics. So why aren't Americans better at managing money? They were never taught the right way. As you go through this course, we will focus on teaching you what to do with money and then show you how to do it. Money math is easy. It's controlling your money's behavior that's the challenge. As you evaluate the normal American family, consider your own financial future. The fact is, this doesn't have to be your future reality. You don't have to spend more money than you make just to look good in front of your friends. You can learn basic money principles and put them into practice. When you manage money well, you'll experience deeper satisfaction. It really is that simple. Personal finance is 80% behavior and 20% head knowledge. Money math is easy. It's controlling your behavior that's the real challenge. As you think about the normal American family, remember that normal is broke. You don't have to be normal. Americans are being outsmarted. Ultimately, what made our current indebtedness possible was that it became profitable. Yes, a debt system that keeps Americans from achieving wealth and makes us slaves to the lender exists because it became a profitable industry. Today, with Americans charging more than $1 trillion each year on their credit cards, one can understand why the credit card companies are so profitable. There's nothing wrong with a business turning a profit. What's wrong is that these companies are outsmarting Americans, and that should bother you. Why do we allow ourselves to be outsmarted when it comes to our own money? We like stuff, lots of stuff. We're told that debt is normal. It has become acceptable in our culture to use credit to buy things. We are taught that we can buy happiness. This simply just isn't true. Our debt system keeps us from building wealth because we are constantly giving our money away to pay for things we bought years ago. In America, we are bombarded with marketing ads that push us to buy things. You can buy it today with no money down and no interest for 90 days. Sound familiar? We want you to be aware of the financial condition of our country, and we want you to question it. Section 3. You and money. Learn the language of money. No one's born financially smart. Learning the language of personal finance is the first step in becoming money smart. The language of money is spoken in the vocabulary of accounting, understanding what credits, debits, assets, and liabilities are. You've got to learn enough to understand your personal financial statements and communicate effectively about your finances. How smart you are with your money will determine your financial well-being in life. Recap. Knowing the language of money allows you to tell your money what to do. That means deciding where your money is going to go before you get your paycheck. You'll be able to communicate effectively with bankers, financial planners, and insurance agents. Focus on understanding the vocabulary as you move through this course. You'll become the expert on your money. Winning with money is not complicated, but it does involve some basic knowledge. Learning the language of money is a little bit like learning the language of sports. You can't really follow, much less enjoy, a football game if you don't know what the ref is talking about when he uses words like blitz, option, or stunt. But once those terms are explained to you and you grasp their meaning in the context of the game, you can easily get into it and shout for your team. It's the same way with money. Being financially literate allows you to participate in the game. And if you really put what you learn into practice, you can even become a coach and tell your money what to do. Of course, that doesn't mean talking to your Benjamins. It's about effectively communicating with banks, financial planners, and insurance agents, people who provide the money services you need in order to grow wealth. It's also about knowing how to budget and what to budget for. Understanding the language of money will allow you to manage your own finances effectively. You don't want to be a dependent on outside influences to control, shape, or coerce your financial behavior. Instead, you will determine which level of financial well-being you will achieve. It's that simple. If you're going to tell your money what to do, you need to speak the language first. You don't have to become a financial or accounting genius to win with money. Financial success isn't reserved just for the select few who actually enjoy running spreadsheets or earn accounting degrees. But you do need to be what we call money smart. That just means you need to understand some basic principles. First, you need to be comfortable with basic math. Second, you must start learning the language of money. Third, and this is the hardest part, you need to learn how to manage your behavior with money. So what does winning with money look like? We can divide financial well-being into 3 levels. Note, these levels are not determined by income, but rather by how you manage your income. First is survival. At this level, there are simply income, bills, and hope that there's enough money to get you to the end of the month. Sounds like fun, right? You work for every dollar you earn and spend everything you earn. This is the living paycheck to paycheck level of financial well-being. Comfort. At this level, you have a basic understanding of money management. There are still income and bills. However, you pay yourself first. You have a small monthly surplus that you use to save and invest. You are slowly building wealth and moving toward being financially secure. 3. Secure. Instead of saving and investing a small surplus, you arrange your finances in such a way that your wealth now generates your income. That's right. At this level, your money actually works for you. On which level would you like your financial future to rest? How you view money matters. The way we view money is unique and largely dependent on our current financial state. Even though you are still dependent on your parents, you are already developing a money personality. Some people are really good at saving, while others are talented at finding bargains. The fact is, we all have strengths and weaknesses. We all have a money personality. How much money a person has, unfortunately, does not always dictate his or her spending behavior. Some millionaires hate spending, while some people who are broke can't seem to stop buying things. Money, or the lack of money, can affect the way we feel about ourselves and the way we interact with others. Your relationship with money is complex and dynamic. Winning with money isn't just about understanding how it works. It's about putting your heart into it. That's the 80% behavior we've talked about. Money is a tool. It's up to you to manage it. The best way to manage money is to learn how to manage you. You need to know your natural instincts when it comes to money. For instance, are you more likely to spend or save? Once you know your money personality, you develop a financial plan that works for you. It's in recognizing who you really are that allows you the opportunity to grow and learn.